तमेव लोकशङ्करं नमामि शङ्करं गुरुं नमामि शङ्करं गुरुं नमामि शङ्करं गुरुं
माला सुधा कुंभ विबोधमुद्रा विद्याविराजत्करवारिजाताम् अपार कारुण्य सुधाम्बुराशिं श्री शारदाम्बां प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यं सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. With pranamas to the Padapadmas of the Ubhaya Jagadgurus. In this series of Punyabhumi Sringeri, we are discussing the factors that contributed to Sringeri becoming a Punyabhumi, to Sringeri being revered as a Punyabhumi. In the last few episodes, we have spoken about the divine Guru Parampara that has flourished in this Kshetra. We have discussed the story of the Tungabhadra river that flows in this Kshetra. And today, we will be discussing one more aspect of this Sringeri Kshetra. The name itself is Sringeri in colloquial usage today, but the name that we see in Samskrita Granthas and in the Puranas is Sringagiri, the Giri, the mountain of Shringa Rishi. This Shringa Rishi is none other than Rishyashringa Maharshi, the son of Vibhandaka Maharshi and the grandson of Kashyapa Prajapati. His story is found in many Puranas as well as the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, and it is his tapas in this location that led this Kshetra to be named after him. So, as part of the story of that Maharshi, we will be looking today at the narrative found in the Ramayana. There is a longer narrative in the Mahabharata, but because Ramayana is the Adikavya and because the story is very nicely presented there, we will be looking at the story of Rishyashringa Maharshi as shown in the Ramayana. So in the Balakanda itself, as Dasharatha is preparing to do a yaga in order that he may have progeny, the Putrakameshti is actually not in the picture yet. The idea that Dasharatha has is to do the Ashwamedha yaga as per the advice of Vasishtha Maharshi and the other Purohitas. It is at that juncture that once the Ashwamedha has been decided, that Dasharatha's charioteer and minister, his confidant named Sumantra, comes to Dasharatha's chambers in a secluded place and then details to him a particular story that he has heard previously from Sanat Sujata. एतच्छ्रुत्वा रहस्सूतो राजानमिदम् अब्रवीत् ऋत्विग्भिरुपदिष्टोऽयं पुरावृत्तो मया श्रुतः. So Sumantra is telling Dasharatha that there is one story that you must know that I have heard the Ritviks tell. Sanat Kumaro Bhagavan Purvam Kathitavan Katham Rishinam Sannidhau Rajan Tava Putragamam Prati. There is a tale that has been told by Sanat Kumara that the Ritviks have also heard and that I have also heard. And this story has to do with your obtaining a child, with your obtaining progeny. Kashyapasya tu putrosti vibhandaka iti shrutaha rishyashringa iti khyataha tasya putro bhavishyati. So there is the Maharshi Kashyapa that is famed. He will have a child named Vibhandaka. His son will be named Rishyashringa Maharshi. And it is that Rishyashringa that is now relevant to you. One note here. Some places you will see Rishyashringa, some places you will see Rishyashringa. So the Sha and the Sha both are used, Rishya and Rishya. Both are correct because in Amara the word Rishya is used to mean a deer. So both of these are acceptable. So there is no difference there. Sa vane nitya samvriddhaha munir vanacharas sada nanyan janati viprendro nityam pitranu vartanat. So the speciality of this Rishyashringa Maharshi is that he was raised in complete solitude by his father. Vibhandaka Maharshi raised Rishyasringa in such a way that he knew nothing outside of his ashrama. Dvaividhyam, and the speciality of this Maharshi in this Charitra that we are about to tell, in the story that we are about to tell, is that Dvaividhyam Brahmacharyasya Bhavishyati Mahatmanah Lokeshu Prathitam Rajan Vipraistu Kathitam Tatha. So, this Rishi named Rishyasringa will follow two forms of Brahmacharya. One is Lokeshu Prathitam Brahmacharyam. One is the Brahmacharya that is famed in the world, that is widely recognized, as well as Vipraishcha Kathitam Tatha, as well as the Brahmacharya that is talked about in the Dharma Shastras. So what are these two? Here the Vyakhyakarta very nicely writes. One Brahmacharya, the Lokesha Prahitam, the Brahmacharya that is famed in the world, is the Brahmacharya that consists of abstinence. So not marrying, refraining from the contact of women. So such Brahmacharya is Lokesha Prahitam. That Brahmacharya is widely known, and Rishyasringa Maharshi has followed this to the utmost extent. The second is Vipraishcha Kathitan Tatha. There is a second form of Brahmacharya that can be practiced by even those who are married in Grahastha-ashrama. So even though they may be married, even though they may even have children, they may even bear children, even then there is a form of Brahmacharya that can be married, consisting of Rutugamana and other sorts of abstinence. So both of these will be followed by the Rishi in this Charitra that we are about to tell. Tasyevam vartamanasya kalas samabhivartata agnim shushrushamanasya pitarancha yashasvinam. He spent his time, Rishyasringa Maharshi spent his time serving his father and doing Agnikarya and Tapas. This was all that he did until he was a young man. Perhaps the age is not told, but we can assume that until he was almost 20 or 25 years old, because he was a Yuva at the time of this story. So we can assume that until the age of almost 25, as per our human count, Rishyasringa Maharshi did nothing besides Swadhyaya, Tapas, Agnikarya and Pitru Shushrusha. So for that Rishyasringa, the time was spent in such austere fashion. Etasminneva kale tu Romapadah pratapavan angeshu prathito raja bhavishyati mahabalaha. So this entire story in the Ramayana is set in the future tense, bhavishyati, because Sanat Kumara is telling the story before it has even happened. So at this very same time, so as Rishyasringa is being raised in seclusion by his father, at the same time there will be a king in the Angadesha by the name Romapada. So this Romapada, tasya vyatikramat rajnyaha bhavishyati sudaruna anavrishtihi sughora vai sarvabhuta bhayavaha. So this Romapada, this story is given in more detail in the Tungabhadra Mahatmya, but this Romapada commits an offense towards Veda Vidvans. He commits avamana of Veda Vidvans, knowingly or unknowingly, and therefore the fruit of that is that the Rajya, the entire kingdom, is subject to Durbhiksha and Anavrishti. There is no rain in the kingdom at all. And Sarvabhuta Bhayavaha, all beings in that kingdom were exceedingly plagued by that lack of rainfall, by that drought. So then, Anavrishtiyantu Vrittayam Raja Dukha Samanvitaha Brahmanan Shrutavriddhanscha Samaniya Pravakshyati. So that king, exceedingly distressed by the state of his kingdom, calls Brahmanan Shrutavriddhanscha. He calls scholars, Shrutavriddhan, those who are exceedingly learned, and then asks them about what to do. And then they say, Vakshyanti te Mahipalam Brahmana Vedaparagaha Anayyacha Mahipala Rishyasringam Susatkritam. So there the Brahmanas, the Veda Vidvans tell the Rishi, tell the Raja that you please bring Rishyasringa to your Desha. Right now Rishyasringa is somewhere in the south of India. But if you can manage to bring him to your Rajya, the second he sets foot in your kingdom, the Anavrishti will go, the drought will be ended. Vibhandaka Sutam Rajan Brahmanam Vedaparagam Prayacha Kanyam Shantam Vai Vidhina Susamahitaha. So they say, you please bring him to your kingdom, and it is not just bringing him, you also do Kanyadana to him. So this Romapada has a daughter named Shanta. There are two stories in the world based on the way you read the Ramayana. These are not folk tales, but based on the way that the Ramayana is interpreted, that this Shanta is actually a daughter of Dasharatha, and she was given in adoption to Romapada, as Dasharatha and Romapada were both allies. The other story is that she was the own daughter of Romapada, It does not make much difference to the story here. But the advice of the Brahmanas and the Veda Vidvans to Romapada in order to avert this drought was, you please bring Rishyasringa Maharshi to your desha and you give your daughter in marriage to him. So here we must pause to think about the repercussions of this and the inner meaning of this. So why is it that bringing Rishyasringa Maharshi is a solution for drought? So we have two parts of the answer that we must understand here. That what has been committed is a papa. So for a papa, there are various ways of getting rid of the papa. The first obviously is through experience, anubhava. Nabhuktam kshiyate karma kalpakoti shatairapi is what Smriti is telling us. So unless the fruit of the karma is experienced, the karma will not go. So that karma is currently being, that papa is currently being experienced as the drought. The fruit of the Veda Vidvan Ninda, the fruit of that Ninda that was done of the Veda Vidvans by this Raja is being experienced as the drought in the kingdom. So one way to get rid of this papa, to get rid of this dukkha is to just let it run its course, to experience it until it ends. Obviously this is very tough to do. So therefore it is at this juncture of time that we get prayashchittas. So prayashchittas are karmas that are specified in order to mitigate or avert the fruit of the papa. So whatever karma phala it is that you have to experience, that will either be experienced as part of the prayashchitta, or it will be mitigated due to the prayashchitta, or the prayashchitta will be a kind of a pratibandhaka to it. It will prevent that dukkha from being experienced. So such a prayashchitta must be done. However, we get this in the Tungabhadra Mahatmya that regardless of however many yajnas and yagas that this Romapada Maharaja did, it was not sufficient to mitigate the severity of this papa. Therefore, something more was needed. It is here that we get the solution that the Veda Vidvans here have provided, that the padasparsha of a Mahapurusha is enough to be a prayashchitta. If you have a true jnani, a true tapasvi, a true scholar and person of an austere lifestyle, the mere touch of such a person's feet is enough to cause purity and to mitigate any papa that may have been committed. Therefore, Rishyasringa Maharshi is an Ajanma Shuddha. Since he was born, he knows no papa at all. Not only does he not commit any papa, there is no papa in his mind as well. Other people that were raised in the world, they may not have committed any papa themselves, but they know what is papa and what is punya. They know that there is both good and bad in this world. However, Rishyasringa Maharshi, being raised in seclusion by his father, is unaware of any adharma at all. He does not even know that adharma is an option. He does not even know that there is something that can be done that is a papa. Therefore, his mind is exceedingly pure. And on top of that, as we have said, he does nothing else besides tapas and vruddha seva of his father. Therefore, you cannot find anyone, or this king would not have been able to find anyone that was more pure than this Rishyasringa Maharshi. Therefore, the touch of Rishyasringa Maharshi's feet is enough to mitigate the papa that was committed and to restore the reins to Romapada Maharaja's kingdom. This is the Vishesha here. This is the specificity of the Sandarbha. There is one more aspect that we must know, that wherever dharma prevails, there prakriti will be in harmonium. Wherever there are dharmatmas and sajjanas, there the environment will be happy. That is why we find in Mahabharata also, the Pandavas are living incognito in the kingdom of Virata, in the Matsya Rajya, and Duryodhana is looking for them. He is seeking out their whereabouts and is looking for their location so that he can draw them out of hiding and force them again to do Vanavasa for 12 more years. In such a situation, the Duryodhana's spies and emissaries are unable to locate the Pandavas, and at that juncture, Duryodhana goes to Bhishma Pitamaha and asks him for an upaya, for a solution as to how he can find the Pandavas. Bhishma then tells Duryodhana The Pandavas are all dharmatmas. They are exceedingly pure. They commit no papa. Therefore, whichever kingdom that the Pandavas are currently residing in will be happy, healthy, and hale. It will rain 3 times a month there. The crops will be bountiful, and the people will be happy. So here also in Mahabharata also we see that wherever dharmatmas are there, pure dharmatmas are there, their rainfall will be there, the crops will be bountiful, the harvest will be sufficient, and the environment in general will be very pleasant and peaceful. So in the same way here also, if such a dharmatma, there has been an atikrama of dharma, dharma has been transgressed, which is why the environment also is not in equilibrium and harmony. So for that dharma to be restored, you need a great dharmatma to come back to the kingdom. And such a dharmatma is Rishishringa Maharshi. And therefore, if Rishishringa Maharshi comes back, the environment will be restored to its usual balance. It is a reminder to us today also that for whatever extremities we see in the environment today, it can be extreme heat, lack of rain, extreme cold, heat waves, storms, plagues. These are all generally told in our Shastras to be the effects of an adharmic community. So the more that we follow dharma as a society, the more favorable Prakriti will be towards us. And the flip of this is also true. The more favorable we are to Prakriti, the more environmentally friendly we are, the more environmentally conscious we are, the more dharma we will accrue, and thereby once again Prakriti will be gracious towards us. So this is another message that is hidden in the story of Rishishringa Maharshi. So at that situation, Tato Raja Vinishchitya Saha Mantribhir Atmavan Purohitam Amatyamashcha Tataf Preshyati Satkratan. So then the Raja Romapada tells his ministers, please go and bring Rishishringa. They at that point become exceedingly frightened because Vibhandaka Maharshi is a Rishi whose tapas is legendary. His tapas is exceedingly mighty. So to even ask him something, to even fall in front in his line of sight is something that caused these mantris great fear. Tetu Ragnyo Vachashritva Vyathita Vinatananaha Nagachema Rishir Bhitaha Anuneshyanti Tanripam. So then all the mantris told the Raja, we fear that Rishi, we fear his displeasure. If we are asking for his son to come back, we fear his displeasure. Therefore, we cannot go to his ashrama and ask for Rishishringa Maharshi to come. So at that point, Rishishringastu Jamata Putrastu Vidhasyati Sanat Kumara Kathitam Etavad Vyahritam Maya Eva Mangadhipenaiva Ganikabhihi Rishaya Sutaha Anitaha Avarshayad Devaha Shanta Chasme Pradiyate. So there Sanat Kumara is still telling. Therefore, what the king did was he sent courtesans. The dancers of his court were sent to bring Rishishringa. So that story will be told. And then Sumantra finishes telling Dasharatha that this is what has been told by Sanat Kumara. Rishishringastu Jamata Putrastava Vidhasyati. So Sumantra is telling Dasharatha that Rishishringa will be capable of giving you the children that you seek. His grace will secure you the progeny that you seek. So then Dasharatha asks Sumantra, Atha Hrishto Dasharatha Sumantram Pratyabhashata Yatharshya Shringaha Tvanito Vistarena Tvayocyatam. So this is a great tale that you have told me, that Rishishringa was being raised alone, and you are saying that even kings and ministers feared to approach Vibhandaka Maharshi, his father. So then how did these dancers go and bring Rishishringa Maharshi? How did these courtesans go and bring Rishishringa Maharshi? I want to hear that story. So there the story of Rishishringa Maharshi is being told again by Sumantra. Romapada Muvachedam Sahamachyaf Purohitaha Upayo Nirapayoyam Asmabhihi Abhijintitaha Rishishringaha Vanacharaha Tapas Swadhyayanerataha Anabhignyassa Narinam Vishayanam Sukhasyacha. Rishishringa is a Vanachara. He lives in the forest. And tapas swadhyayane rataha. He knows nothing other than tapas and swadhyaya. Tapas refers to a life that is led as per niyamas. niyamesha tapashabdaha is the definition that Apastamba Maharshi gives of tapas. So the austerity, living an austere life, living a controlled life, living a rigid life is tapas. And Swadhyaya is study. So the Adhyayana of Vedas, Mantra Japa, these all come under Swadhyaya. So Rishyasringa Maharshi knows nothing besides this and he lives in the forest. Therefore, Saha Anabhignaha, he does not know some things. Narinam, he does not know what a female is. Forget about being a male or a female. He does not even know that there are two categories called male and female. Vishayanam Sukhasyacha, he also does not know what comforts are. He does not know the comforts of life that people in the cities and nagaras enjoy. Indriyarthair abhimataihi narachitta pramadhibhihi puramanaya yashyamaha kshipranch adhyavasiyatam. Kshipram adhyavasiyatam. You get everything ready. We will ensure that rishi will be brought to the city very speedily. How? Narachitta pramadhibhihi indriyarthaihi. By indriya bhogas that will cause a disturbance in the minds of men. So usually even someone whose mind is calm and pleasant, the second he sees sukha, the second he sees something to be experienced by the indriyas, he will be shaken from that. That is why Bhagavan also says in Gita, Indriyani pramathini haranti prasabham manaha. The indriyas, even though someone may be trying to focus the mind somewhere, the indriyas will steal that mind away. The indriyas will steal the mind away and throw the mind into the objects of enjoyment. So we will get such objects of enjoyment, show them to the rishi, show them to Rishyasringa Maharshi, and we will draw him out from the ashrama into the kingdom through this upaya. At that point, the Ganikas, the courtesans all go to the ashrama of Rishyasringa Maharshi. Rishiputrasya dhirasya nityam ashramavasinaha pitussa nitya santushtaha nati chakrama chashramat. So because this Rishyasringa was living with his father, he had never set foot outside the ashrama. So when he saw these trees, Natena janma prabhriti drishtapurvam tapasvina striva pumanva yat chanyat sarvam nagara rashtrajam. So therefore he had never seen striva pumanva tat chanyat. He had not seen men or women, and also yachanyan nagara rashtrajam. He had not seen any object that was born of the cities. He had not seen anything that was urban. So having seen that, tatah kadachit tam desha majagama yadrichaya vibhandaka sutastatra tascha apashyat varanganaha. So when he saw these trees, tash chitraveshah pramadaha gayantyo madhuraswarehi rishiputram upagamya sarva vachanam abruvan. So when he saw these trees, they all approached him. How? Chitra veshaha, with garments that Rishyasringa Maharshi would not have seen. He would only have seen vastras made of bark. The Narachira is the only garment that he would have seen. They are all wearing cotton and silk vastras. And Gayantyaha Madhuraswarehi, he does not know anything except Veda Patha. They are singing, so he is hearing music for the first time. Rishibhiputram upagamya sarva vachanam abruvan. So then all these trees come to Rishyasringa Maharshi and ask him, Kastvam kim vartase brahman jnatum ichhamahe vayam ekastam vijane ghore vane jarase shamsanaha. Who are you? Why are you roaming around in this vana? What is your name? So having been asked thusly by the trees, Rishyasringa Maharshi replies. And here Valmiki Maharshi tells us the state of mind that Rishyasringa has. Because this is one more aspect that we must keep in mind. Although the plan of these trees was to draw Rishyasringa Maharshi out through the use of Indriya Bhogas, Rishyasringa Maharshi was never perturbed by those. Though he had never seen Indriya Bhogas, he was never shaken by those. Adrishta Rupa Stastena Kamya Rupa Vanestriyaha Hardat Tasya Matirjata Hyakhyatum Pitaram Swakam. Tesham Hardat. So he found a certain camaraderie. He felt a certain type of friendliness towards those new people that had come, and therefore he spoke. It was not out of any other desire for women. So there Rishyasringa Maharshi is telling, Pita Vibhandakosmakam Tasyaham Suda Aurasaha Rishyasringa iti khyataha. My father's name is Vibhandaka. I am his Aurasa Suta. I am his own son. And having heard that, all the strees, tasya tad ashrama rishiputra vachashrutva sarvasam matirasavai tadashrama padam drashtum jagmuhu sarvashcha tenataha. So having known that this is the Rishishringa Maharshi that they were looking for, all the strees follow Rishishringa Maharshi to his ashrama. And at that point, Rishishringa Maharshi is still thinking that these are all rishis, because he has not seen anyone besides his father and maybe one or two rishis that live in that same tapovana. So Rishishringa Maharshi is under the impression that these courtesans are also rishis. So he calls them to his ashrama, has them sit. Agatanam tataf pujam Rishiputras chakaraha. He did all the maryadas that are done to elders that come to the ashrama. Idam arghyam, idam padyam, idam moolam, idam phalam. He gives them all arghya, padya and fruits to eat. That is the maryada, that is the respect that his father taught him to show to elder maharshis. And having thought that these people are also maharshis, he follows the same code of conduct here as well. So then, having obtained that respect from Rishishringa Maharshi, these strees also then tell him, these women, these courtesans also tell him, asmakamapi mukhyani phalani imani vaidvija grihana prate bhadrante bhakshayasva cha machiram. They tell him, you have given us your fruits. We also have some fruits that we have brought for you from our ashrama. Ashrama means the kingdom. So they say, we also have some special fruits that we have brought from you. You please eat these before they go bad, before it becomes too late. Tataha taha tam samalingya sarva harshasamanvitaha modakan pradadustasmai bhakshanscha vividhan shubhan. So those trees then they all gave him modakas and bhakshyas. They gave him various sweets and eatables that Rishishringa Maharshi would otherwise never have seen in the ashrama. So, but they tell him that they are fruits. So this is what happens on one day. The next day, tato paredyus tam desham ajagama sa viryavan manognya yatra tadrishta varamukhya svalankritaha. So on the second day also, Rishishringa Maharshi, while going to the forest, happens upon these same strees. And at that point, they all invite him to their ashrama. So Rishishringa Maharshi is thinking that these courtesans are rishis. And these courtesans are also using that same language. So they say to Rishishringa Maharshi, yashramadam saumya asmakam iti chabruvan. Hey Saumya, O gentle one, asmakam ashrama padam ehi. You please come to our ashrama. So it is out of maryada that Rishishringa Maharshi follows them. Chitranyatra bahunisyuhu moolani cha phalani cha tatra pyesha vidhi shriman visheshena bhavishyati. So whatever vidhi that you did for us yesterday, whatever maryada that you did for us yesterday, having offered us moolas and phalas, roots and fruits, we will do the same maryada to you. So you please come to our ashrama. This is how the courtesans called Rishishringa Maharshi. So Rishishringa Maharshi followed them out of respect, not out of any desire for those sweets that they had given him, or any desire for the clothes that he had seen, or any desire for the opulence that they had shown. Rishishringa Maharshi, being a Shanta and a Danta, being someone that has followed Brahmacharya for the 25 years that for the 20 or 25 years that he was there, he was not perturbed by the bhogas they showed, but he followed them as a matter of courtesy, as a matter of maryada. That is one thing that we must know. Shrutva tu vachanantasam sarvasam hridayangamam gamanaya matinchakre tancha ninyus tada striyaha. So the strees, all those courtesans have, with the proper maryada, brought Rishishringa Maharshi to the Angadesha. Tatra chaniyamane tu vipre tasmin mahatmani. The second that the border was crossed, the second that Rishishringa Maharshi set foot in the Angadesha, Vavarsha sahasa devaha jagat prahladayam stada. Immediately Varuna rained heavily, causing Ananda to the entire Jagat, to the entire earth. So the second that Rishishringa Maharshi set foot in the Angadesha, it is not just the king that was gladdened, but through this rain, that entire region that was starving, that was experiencing drought and famine, at once was restored into a happy and hale region. So that is the greatness of Rishishringa Maharshi. That is the level of Rishishringa Maharshi's tapas, and that is the greatness of Rishishringa Maharshi's brahmacharya that was followed. So thereafter Romapada Maharshi gives his daughter Shanta in marriage to Rishishringa Maharshi, and after hearing the story, Dasharatha goes and brings Rishishringa Maharshi with the proper maryada. Asadyatam didashreshtham Brahmapada Samipagam Rishiputram Dadarshado Deepyamanam Ivanalam. So having heard this story, Dasharatha also goes to the Angadesha and saw that Rishiputra, saw that Rishishringa shining like Anala, shining like fire. So although Rishishringa had then married, although the Rishishringa Maharshi had then married by then, he was still shining with tapas. Because as we said earlier, there are two forms of brahmacharya. One is absolute abstinence. The second is that which is followed even by those that are grihasthas. So even though he had gotten married, Rishishringa Maharshi followed that brahmacharya that is told in the Smritis. So therefore his tejas was still exceedingly great. So then Dashratha Maharshi brings Rishishringa Maharshi to his desha, and under the Artvidya of Rishishringa Maharshi being the Pradhana Ritvik and Vasishta Maharshi and all other Veda Vidwans being the other Ritviks, the Ashwamedha Yaga was performed first. It is only then that Dasharatha Maharaja asks Rishishringa about his children. Tatobravit Rishishringam Raja Dasharathas Tada Kulasya Vardhanantam tu Kartumarhati Suvrata. Hey Suvrata, O Rishishringa Maharshi, O Maharshi who follows niyamas rigidly, I beseech you to cause Kulavardhana for me. I seek from you the flourishing of my race. I seek to you that my Vamsha may continue. And it is at that point that Rishishringa Maharshi Medhavitu Tatodhyattva Sakinchit Idamuktaram Labdhasanyah Tatastantu Vedagno Nripam Abravit. So Medhavi, being possessed of Medha, Dhir Dharanavati Medha is what Shastra is telling us. So a mind that is exceedingly retentive, an intellect that is exceedingly retentive is called Medha. Why is Rishishringa Maharshi called as Medhavi here? It is because Rishishringa Maharshi, through his tapas and swadhyaya, and his study, he has retained all the Vedas and Shastras in his mind. And Tatodhyatva, through the strength of his upasana, through the strength of his anusthana, he did dhyana so that the right answer, the right upaya for Dasharatha to have children would flash in his mind. And at that second, Labdhasanyaha, having obtained the hint as to what he should do, Vedagnaha, that knower of the Vedas, idam abravit. He spoke to Dasharatha in this way. Ishtim teham karishyami putriyam putrakaranat atharva shirasi proktaihi mantrai siddham vidhanataha. So, it is at that point that he tells him that it is decided that the Putra Kameshti will be done. So, until now, how has it done? The Ashwamedha was decided by Vasishta Maharshi, and then Sumantra tells Dasharatha the story that it has been told earlier by Sanat Kumara that such a great sage named Rishishringa exists, and it is through his prasada that you will get children. This has been told by Sanat Kumara earlier. So, Dasharatha has gone and brought Rishishringa to do the Ashwamedha. So the contract is for the Ashwamedha. So the Ashwamedha has been performed. And it is only now after the Ashwamedha is done that Dasharatha asks Rishishringa for some upaya that will give him children. It is at this point that Rishishringa tells him, Putriyam ishtim karayishyami. I will do an ishti for you called the Putra Kama Ishti. And this is told in the Atharva Shirase Proktaihi. This is told in the Atharva Veda and Mantrai Siddham Vidhanataha. So, thus Rishishringa Maharshi, the great Rishi, the great son of Vibhandaka Maharshi and the grandson of Kashyapa Maharshi, performed the Putra Kameshti for Dasharatha, due to which was born the Purnavatara of Sri Mahavishnu and the Maryada Purushottama, the very epitome of Dharma, the epitome of Dharma, Sri Ramachandra. So it is Rishishringa's grace that we have even gotten Ramayana. It is Rishishringa's grace that Rama was born. So such a great Maharshi named Rishishringa did tapas in this Sringeri. It is not just the tapas of Rishishringa Maharshi, but it is also the tapas of his father Vibhandaka Maharshi that has caused this Sringeri Kshetra to become exceedingly sanctified. We find in the Tungabhadra Mahatmya the story of Vibhandaka Maharshi. Krishnajina paridhanaha krita darbhasano munihi Japan Panchaksharim Shaivim Aste Trishatavatsaram. In this Sringeri Kshetra, Vibhandaka Maharshi sat upon wearing Krishnajana, wearing the deer skin as his garments, Krita Darbhasanaha, seated upon Darbhas, Trishatavatsaram, for 300 years, Aste Panchaksharim Shaivim Japan. Vibhandaka Maharshi performed tapas in this Sringeri Kshetra for 300 years, doing japa of the Panchakshari. And as the fruit of his tapas, Lingam Pradurabhutasya Malahanikaram Param. A linga appeared in front of him as the fruit of his tapas, named Malahanikara. What is the meaning of this word Malahanikara? The Purana itself tells us, Amhohanikaram Lingam, Malahanikaram Viduhu. That linga that causes Amhohani, Amhas, refers to Papa. Hani refers to the loss of or the destruction of. So that linga that causes the destruction of papas, not just papas, dukkhas. Papa is also used to mean papa vasanas. So it is not just papa that gives us sorrow, but there is a samskara of the papa that is left in our mind. So that samskara is also removed by worship of Ishvara. So such a linga is called Malahanikara. Mala means a dosha, Hani means removal of. So such a linga emerged in front of Rishishringa Maharshi. And in the Tungabhadra Mahatmya, they also tell us the geographical markers of this Shringagiri, of Rishishringa Maharshi's ashrama, which before him was the ashrama of Vibhandaka Maharshi. So Krishna Paramatma is telling Yudhishthira, Tataf Pradarsyate Bhupa Rishishringa Munervanam. I will now tell you where the Tapovana of Rishishringa Maharshi can be found. Uttarabhimukhi Tunga Purvaga Yatra Sabhavat Punar Uttaraga. So that place where Tunga flows northward, again turns to the east, and then once again flows north. Tasya Tatra Padam. There Rishishringa Maharshi's ashrama will be found. And it is that ashrama that Bhagavatpada has used as the landmark for the Sringeri Sharada Pitham in his Mathamnayano Shasana. Malahanikaram lingam vibhandaka supujitam yatraste Rishishringasya Maharsher ashramo mahan. So this is the geographical locator that Bhagavatpada has given for the Dakshinamnaya Pitha. Malahanikaram lingam vibhandaka supujitam. Wherever the Malahanikara linga is there, and wherever Rishishringasya ashramaha mahan, wherever that great ashrama of Rishishringa Maharshi is found, that place is the site of my fourth pitha in the count of the Amnaya Anushasana, but the first pitha in terms of predominance. There we can find the Sringeri Pitha. So it is in such a site that Bhagavatpada established the Dakshinamnaya Sringeri Sharada Pitha. And it is the tapas of these two Maharshis, of Rishishringa Maharshi and Vibhandaka Maharshi, that along with Tunga and along with the Guru Parampara have caused great sanctity to this place. In the coming episode, we will see how the Devata in this Kshetra has been extolled by the Vedas, Shastras, Itihasas and Puranas. Namah Shankaraya.
Namami